Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hollywood on the Rocks is here. I'm Chris Gore. This is Film Threat. Alan Ng is going to join me shortly. He was too busy doing a social media reaction to The End of Oak Street, but he took time out of his schedule to join us for the show. He's a busy man. Let's get him here. Where is
Alan!
Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah. Oh, just a reminder, I have to leave early today because I have to do an early social reaction of Doomsday. So
yeah, you do. Is that true? I think you're messing with me.
Yeah.
I think you're messing with me.
You brought the joke up, so
yeah. Well, there you go. But big show today because we maybe end up having a different kind of funeral this fall. You know, normally in December, there's not a lot going on, but this December, last year we did a funeral for Star Wars. We did a funeral for Star Trek, and I think we have another funeral on our hands very soon. We shall see. But Alan, it's our Wednesday show. Yes. Lots going on. But let me share here. It's our goal, people. What, Alan?
169,000. And my God, we are close.
We are getting close.
I believe we're 800 away.
So if you're new to the channel, you somehow discovered us, we hope you subscribe to get Alan to his dream number, which is
169,000.
Yeah. Let's say hi to the people before we start.
Yes. It's the Glitchoso who became a YouTube member. Getting us closer to that 169,000.
Exactly. Thank you, Glitchoso.
Aaron Sharman for 499. Yesterday marked 12 years since we lost the great Robin Williams. Still sorely missed.
I agree.
That documentary they did on him is heartbreaking. Just goes right into it. Eric Stratton, member for 43 months. 43 months. I have been loving your interviews on Wednesdays and Fridays lately. Keep on keeping on.
Well, today on the show, we're talking about a new horror movie, Ever After, and the actress Bonnie Aarons will be here at 2:00 in an hour. She'll be here.
So, boys, let's be gentlemen when she arrives.
Yes, be nice.
Atomic Lori, 798 away from 169,000.
There you go. Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, wait till you see what we have planned when we hit the goal. Christopher Relay Productions. Howdy, all. They're piling on Eli Roth for using AI, but I have it from a source that they did Spider-Man Brand New Day. What? No. There's AI in Spider-Man Brand New Day?
From a source that so did Spider-Man Brand New Day, meaning used AI. Not surprised. I'm saying it like they're dogpiling on Eli Roth, but I'm telling you, it's being used in movies, in theaters now from big studios.
From Nicholas Gore for 2. Hail, gents. Here's to 169,000.
Hey, I like my new look, Nick Gore.
Laura Thoth, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Sign up as a member. Join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. Buy our merch at shop.filmthreat.com. Are people still on Discord, by the way?
They are. We have to check in, Alan.
I know.
We have to check in on Discord. But look at this. Doomsday shirts. They're available for a limited time. We're celebrating December 18th, the opening of 2 big movies, Avengers Doomsday and Dune Part 3. So get your Doomsday shirts. The summer shirts, after I think the next few weeks, those are gone. So you have our Jaws inspired ones, but Doomsday, we'll keep this going for a while. Get your shirt at shop.filmthreat.com. And Sean Hu gifted 5 Film Threat memberships. Thank you for that, Sean. Check out our members only content.
Yeah, Leif Erikson, 10 jewels, gold coin. Bling.
There you go. Thank you for that. There you are. Hey, lots to talk about today, Alan.
Yeah.
And we saw this movie, Hope, the trailer we saw at CinemaCon recently. It's now out for everyone to see. This is a Korean horror film. We've seen some really great Korean horror films in the past here. Let's check out the trailer for Hope right now that it's been made public. I want to see your face when you see yourself represented.
Okay.
Here we go.
아니 도대체 뭐가 이딴 짓을 한 거야? 예, 여기에 문제가 좀 생겨서 연락드렸어요.
미쳤어.
태상아 이마 새끼. 빨리 와 이 씨발놈아.
보셨어요?
당연히 봤지.
뭐예요?
이거는 우리가 아는 쪽이 아닙니다.
정비 챙겨.
들어가는 거야. 그래. 하나, 둘, 셋. 개새끼 그럴 줄 알았다.
Ooh.
저기 돌려. 쫓아와요. 쫓아와.
Wait, I didn't.
Yeah,
see
Michael
it. Says-
Fassbender and
It
Alicia
says
Vikander.
Michael Fassbender is in it.
Are they producers or are they actually in it?
I don't know, but that looks amazing. I'm getting like in a quiet place vibe.
No, I'm getting End of Oak Street vibes.
All right.
No, they're
that
in the
looks
movie.
good.
Yeah, they're in the
That looks
movie.
good. I'm loving it. But Alan, we have a ton of news today. So let's get to it. We'll do news and we have an interview at the top of the hour. Let's go. Zack Snyder teased a Batman future for Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I know you have notes for this story, but this is kind of wild. Like Zack Snyder has been on a tear lately. He's not, I mean, with the coming WB like merger.
When you do get an opportunity.
No, this is a clip, not a story.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Alan. This is a clip, and Zack Snyder, everyone's saying, hey, restore the Snyderverse. You know what? At this point, I thought it was wild. It might actually happen. This is from Josh Horowitz, Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. Let's see what he has to say about this. It's a short clip.
When you do get an opportunity working again with Zach for a little bit part in BVS, obviously, to play Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
And like, I know you've been asked about this and you've talked about it and Zach's talked about
Flashpoint.
it. How real was that? How did Zach really talk to you about
there was
Flashpoint?
more. I mean, Zach's like, because I remember when he called me to do the role and I was like, well, it's just, it's really nothing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got bigger plans. And I was like, well, Zach, what does that mean, man? He's like, can you just trust me? And I'm like, oh, of course. Yes.
Right.
And I'm going to do it even without this incentive of there's more. And I think we did have a conversation. We talked, I remember we started talking about Batman, him and I together on the press tour for Watchmen. And he was like, I would love to see you play Batman. And I was like, bro,
Don't even tease.
Don't,
Don't even-
yeah, stop. I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack right now. And so I knew, I knew what it was, and you know, we would look at each other, and I think at one point he had looked over and just said Flashpoint, and I was like, oh fuck, god damn it. So I almost don't want to hear it,
right, until it's real. Don't even tease.
But there was so much, immediate fan speculation.
Yeah.
Everybody's so smart these days and knows that world so well, and I was so shocked that it was Zach and Warner Brothers and that it didn't work out, because I love his stuff, and I love that he leans toward the darkness. Not that I don't love Gunn, I do.
Sure.
I really like Gunn. I was supposed to do a movie with him as well about a serial killer. It wasn't even a superhero film. But both guys I love. But Zach was so versed, and he knew this world, I thought, better than any. You know him.
Yeah.
He just.
No, he loves the iconography.
Yeah,
It's just it's in his bones.
Yeah, it's in his bones. He believes it.
Well, you do get it.
So here, I don't think anything is going to happen with Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne in Flashpoint. They already did effectively a really bad version of Flashpoint in The Flash. But what this is about is people all these years later are still talking Snyderverse. So you can see stories, social media posts. Just follow Zach on Instagram. He's in a way kind of trolling that people still kind of like what I did. Maybe it could come back. Who knows? I don't think there's anything to this necessarily. But Zack Snyder coming back to do some DC project, I think the chances of that happening could be big. We should check on Kalshi. What Zack Snyder coming back to DC, what the odds are. What do you think, Alan?
What do I think? I think the Zack Snyder train has left the station long ago and is never coming back. Some things are just past. Death of Superman is done. It's never going to happen. The gap between what could have been and what is very wide. I think, what we're getting now versus what we could have gotten is great to speculate. And it gets bigger and bigger the more we talk about it. DC Studios is currently a giant shit show. And I think my standard response to everything now is burn it down and start over. Start fresh. Get people who actually know what they're doing to be involved. But the way the current system is set up, there's a cancer running through it, and there's no curing it.
Well, WB's situation, could they even fund it at this point? Yeah. I feel like
even if the merger wasn't happening and WB was in a healthy situation, it's still not going in the right direction. And I just don't trust leadership to understand that there's no fixing it and that you just got to start over.
But starting over again, I don't see that happening.
There's a whole history of things starting over and over and over and over. It always is about who is starting it up.
And by the way, Jeffrey Dean Morgan on the Josh Horowitz podcast teasing, look, he'll work for, you see how he kind of backpedaled and said, well, Gunn, I love Gunn. I almost did something with Gunn. Like, he's an actor. He just wants to work.
Yeah.
He's not going to fine. But Zack Snyder returning to DC to do something, I think that is more likely than not likely. So there you go.
I think you're wrong. What's Kashi say?
They're not sponsoring the show today, so
no, good.
That's fine. Hey, Alan, you saw the end of Oak Street. Your out of the theater review has blown up yet again.
Yeah.
It's no Odyssey, but that's okay. However, you told me privately that the ending of this movie,
Wrong story.
the ending of this movie, there's something we need to discuss.
Yeah.
Now we're doing a review on Friday. We'll do spoilers then, but what is it about the ending you want to talk about?
Okay, well, let's just set up the beginning first. And again, so basically, you kind of get it from the trailers. The end of Oak Street is kind of a misnomer for the title. It's actually this giant bubble of a radius of a mile envelops this town, and this town is then shot back to prehistoric times where dinosaurs are, and so now you have this whole town trying to survive basically predator dinosaurs of that time. And the story is about Anne Hathaway's character and Ewan McGregor, Greg and Denise, and their marriage is kind of on the rocks. Denise, this is in the 80s, so Denise is kind of doing her feminist thing, going for a job. He, on the other hand, is just having financial problems with the job he currently has. He has to do pizza delivery on the side, and then all of a sudden everything goes topsy-turvy. They're shot back in the past, and this movie, the best thing I could say about this movie is it's a roller coaster ride. Meaning it's just nonstop action once the thing happens. And they're just trying to escape being eaten by dinosaurs, and then they have to figure out how are we going to survive in this world. If once they start running out of food in their house, there's no power, no electricity, obviously. They have to venture out and find food and water. And so there's that element to it. And then there's the MacGuffin, which is the thing they have to do to hopefully go back to the present day. And I will say this. There's this thing they have to do. And the movie, the second act of the movie is about them doing the thing.
Okay.
And I will just say this. When the thing happens, I would suggest just walking up and getting out of the theater and say, wow, that was a really fun movie. It's a roller coaster ride. There's no depth to it. I mean, you ride roller coasters, you have a great time, but at the end of the roller coaster, you're not thinking to yourself, but what did I learn? That's this movie. This movie feels very Spielbergian. You're going to get that, but there's very little depth. In Jurassic Park, it was should man be playing God? Here it's just how is this family going to survive dinosaurs? And that's pretty much the movie. And then there's a very science fiction end to this film. And that's why I say when the thing happens, walk out and just say, what a great movie or what a fun movie. But when this thing happens, and I'll warn you, for those of you who love science fiction and really uphold to the rules and the science of science fiction, you are going to get pissed off by this ending. And that's all I can say about this. And I can guarantee you on Friday when Gary and the crew watches it, whoever watches it, they will be talking about the ending, and then on Friday we will be talking about this ending, and it will dominate the discussion about this movie.
So your whole thing is that, I mean, we'll talk about it before because
I'm just setting you up.
Why are you plugging another show? You could just have
no.
Your
I just said we're going to talk about it
now.
Friday. We'll talk about it Friday, and then. But I'm going to tell you, people are going to be talking. When I mentioned,
is it
that,
let me just
wait. When I say
hang on a second.
Hold on. When I said wait till you see the third episode of The Acolyte, that's kind of.
Oh, is it that bad?
It's look, it's not as bad as The Acolyte, and like I said, if you just avoid watching the ending, you might actually have a good time with this movie.
So if you look, I've felt that way about certain movies.
Mm-hmm.
You get up to a point, and if they stop the movie here, it's a better movie.
Yes.
Than the ending.
Exactly
is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
It's a long way of saying what I just said, which is if you just stop watching at this point and walk out of the theater, you've had fun.
Yeah, but you need to build up to it and provide context because, because like I said, I mean, anything I mentioned about this is spoilers. I even tried to figure out ways of hinting at it.
Wouldn't it
And I
have
go, if
been
I even
better
hint
to
at
do
it,
this?
it's going to give away the ending.
Wouldn't it have been better to talk about this on Friday and not even discuss?
No, because
or do this segment?
we're getting in front of it. All right, it's like saying, we should have talked about the third episode of The Acolyte when the third episode of The Acolyte came out, and everyone had seen it.
Okay,
I mean, I could tell you after the show what happens, but
you could have told me before the show when we were planning the show.
I know. I
don't know what it is. I haven't
look.
seen
I
the
told
movie.
you. I wasn't going to take much time. We're not taking much time. I'm just warning everybody that this ending.
Look, let's get to our main topic. All your franchises are dead, and I have something to say about it.
A freaking IKEA chair.
And you know what? Alan has something to say about it. We don't really have an intro for when we both have commentary, but let's discuss this. This looks kind of healthy. Look at this. The highest grossing film franchises. Let me zoom in there for you. Here we go. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is number one with a total of 33.4 billion. This is cumulative. Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movies are second. One character, 12.21 billion. Star Wars is 10.7 billion and number three. Number four, Wizarding World. That would be Harry Potter et al. 9.6 billion. 007 at number five with 7.8 billion. Number six, X-Men, 7.4 billion. Number seven is Fast and Furious at 7.3 billion. Number eight, DC, 7.2 billion. Batman as a single character, 7 billion. Number nine. Number 10, Jurassic Park, 6.8 billion. Let's rounding out the top 18 franchises. Number 11 is Avatar with, 3 movies and 6.7 billion. Not bad. Number 12, Despicable Me. I guess that includes Minions at 6 billion. Number 13, The Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth movies, 5.9 billion. Number 14, Transformers, 5.4. Number 15, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, 4.74 billion. Pirates of the Caribbean, 4.5 billion. 17, Toy Story, 4.3 billion. 18, Shrek, 4 billion. But here's the thing. Are these franchises gaining new customers? Let's go through them. Last year, Marvel released 3 movies, Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four. And all 3 of the movies that Marvel released last year were eclipsed by Spider-Man in a week. Over 1 billion, Spider-Man Brand New Day. So I would say that Marvel is Marvel, unfortunately, the Spider-Man character in the Marvel universe doing fine. Marvel, not so much. Star Wars, okay, at number 3 with 10 billion. The Mandalorian and Grogu made less money than 2 indie movies, Obsession and Backrooms. Wizarding World, well, it's not coming to theaters. We've got, the Harry Potter series on HBO, and 007, Daniel Craig literally died in the last, his Bond character died in the last Bond. And what do we have here? Let me show you. And we have notes for the story. James Bond will be exciting and different. And someone used, I'm sure it's a joke, they used an image of Elliot Page as Bond. I don't think I think exciting and different is not the thing we actually are looking for. Alan, we have notes for this story. Before you read those notes, any commentary on what we looked at? All those by the numbers, that combined box office looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think recent history, the last few years, has shown interest from audiences at the theater waning. Your thoughts on that?
I find it interesting that the ones that got bought, aka Marvel and Star Wars, all got bought at the height of their popularity, and then when they were purchased, the excitement, the quality just dissipated almost instantly.
Yeah,
I mean, Sony has somehow managed to maintain and keep Spider-Man at a nice, healthy level. Warner Brothers, I think, despite the controversies with J.K. Rowling, has been doing a pretty decent job of maintaining the Harry Potter franchise. We're at and then 007. We'll see what Amazon does with it, because that one kind of fell in the same hands of we're gonna run this franchise into the ground.
Well, let's jump to that story because they're related. I know you have notes, Alan. I want to go through this story and then let's you and I both comment on this. I mean, this is someone's making light with this image.
Yeah, shame on them.
Yes, but give it to me. What's in here?
Yeah. First of all, the head is way too big for the body. Amy Pascal, who is now overseeing the James Bond franchise for Amazon MGM, has revealed that fans could learn who the next 007 will be by the end of 2026. Speaking to Deadline while promoting Spider-Man Brand New Day, Pascal said the Bond team was being really, really methodical about the casting process. She acknowledged that Daniel Craig will be difficult to replace, but stressed that the next Bond will feel really different, stirring, and exciting. Pascal's comments suggest Amazon MGM is looking beyond simply finding another actor to replicate Craig's version of Bond. The goal appears to be a significant new direction for the franchise while still maintaining the elements that make 007 work.
Well, look, I think I don't know how much we can read into her short comments that'll be exciting and different. She might mean trying to appeal to Gen Z, which would be a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that all these franchises, the ones that are not succeeding, we're talking about ones where profits have declined, and in particular, Marvel and Star Wars. What is the one thing they have in common? That they're trying to either deconstruct or give you something that is vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what fans, especially a Bond, really want is give me a sexy Bond girl, give me male chauvinist Bond, give me but he does have ethics. Bond has ethics. Give me the self-sacrificing hero. I don't know that audiences want new and different. Now I think Amy Pascal, she's being a hype man. She's trying to hype it up like it'll be something new. I think Jacob Elordi would be very different. I mean, he is young. That would be a new step. But I don't think radical change of the core of the character is necessary. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, part of me feels like maybe the words really different, stirring, and exciting. Part of me just feels like maybe she's just using those words just to use those words as opposed to the reality of the situation. I can't imagine a modern day Bond that doesn't violate everything we've come to accept and love about James Bond of the past. We talked about it. It's probably best to keep James Bond as a period piece, at least through the Cold War. into the 80s, early 90s. But you could certainly go back to the 60s. Because the problem is the modern day man. Oh man, if you're trying to make James Bond the modern day man, he would violate every definition of the modern day man that is established today. So yeah, really different, stirring, exciting. I know she's excited when she says that, but to me, those are scary descriptors of what this series could become.
Well, I think that a healthy franchise respects the legacy, whether it's legacy characters, the lore, legacy storytelling. So it respects that while trying to create some things that are new that don't betray it. And I think anytime a franchise, is on the decline, it's because it betrays the legacy. That is the one thing in common, whether it's Doctor Who, Bond, Marvel, or Star Wars. You betray that legacy and you don't simply give the people what they want. I'll end with this. People attempted to cancel me for saying 4 words on social media. On X, I said, make Marvel male again. And articles were written. Campaigns were launched to cancel me. And, all I can say is I think I've been vindicated because we see what happened with Marvel.
Well, that's just it. Make Bond male again.
Even better. Make Bond male again.
Yeah, I mean,
that's great.
James Bond has always been the definition of the man's man. The man the guy every man wanted to be, and the man every girl wanted to be with. That's besides all the spy stuff, that's to me the definition of James Bond. And I don't know how you could do that without pissing off the woke crowd in this case. And and to say really different, stirring, and exciting, that means that it feels like they're succumbing to the woke crowd with whatever casting they choose now.
I will go to your comments after a few more news stories here. We're on a tight schedule today because Alan has a heart out.
No, that's next week.
You seem to always have a heart out.
I know.
It's okay.
I always have a hard something.
One Night Only director cut out so much nudity because people dislike sex on screen. This is an actual story from Variety. Alan, I know you have the notes.
Yes.
Look closely at this. I'm going to zoom in so we can. Well, that's not working.
No, zoom in on the picture, not the.
That's what I'm trying to do. Anyways, give me the story.
All right. Will Gluck's comments about One Night Only highlight a bigger Hollywood debate. Is Gen Z actually uncomfortable with sex, or are filmmakers misunderstanding what younger audiences want? Gluck says he learned through audience testing that nudity and explicit sexual situations can make younger audiences uncomfortable in theaters. He claims this influenced him to cut so much nudity from One Night Only because audiences would become more distracted and lose focus on the characters. The idea is partly supported by UCLA research. A 2025 Teens and Screen survey found that 48.4% of young viewers said that there's too much sex and sexual content in movies and television, while many preferred stories centered on friendship and relationships that aren't primarily about sex. So the emerging picture is less Gen Z is prudish, but more Gen Z doesn't want gratuitous sex. Younger audiences may be more interested in intimacy, emotional connection, and believable relationships than scenes that simply put naked bodies on the screen. That makes One Night Only particularly ironic. The movie is built around a society obsessed with sex. Yet Gluck says that he had removed much of the actual sex and nudity because audiences found it distracting. The result raises an interesting question for Hollywood. If you're making a movie about sexual repression for a generation supposedly less interested in sex, how much sex do you actually need to show? And there's evidence the answer isn't simply less. Recent commentary around the film has pointed out the contradiction between claims that Gen Z doesn't want sex on screen and the popularity of more sexually explicit contemporary movies and television.
Well, look, you and I both saw One Night Only. It's a romantic comedy, and I think because that's really the genre, I don't know that you needed nudity at all. It would not. There is the genre of which is a dead genre. Okay, westerns. Yes, they still make westerns. That was a genre that dominated. The westerns were the superhero movies back in the day, and they made a lot of them, and that genre died. The teen sex comedy was a huge genre when I was growing up. Films that had nudity, that were teen sex comedies. Risky Business, Porky's, Zapped,
Revenge of the Nerds.
Like, it was a staple. The teen sex comedy was a genre unto itself. Now, the John Hughes teen movies, those were kind of their own thing. But really, having seen One Night Only, I don't know that for that you needed it for the story. She's already dressed very provocatively.
Very well, yes.
Throughout the whole film, mostly. The whole
In
film,
this dress throughout the whole film.
Yeah, very short skirt showing cleavage. You kind of didn't need it. It was already there in front of you. So I feel like that was a wise choice. And believe me, I'm no prude. I'm not against nudity at all in films, but there is a right and maybe a wrong way to use it. So what are your thoughts on this, Alan?
Yeah, it's funny. So in the 80s, when I was a fairly devout evangelical Christian, there was the same issue. And for the movies you just mentioned, Revenge of the Nerds, Porky's, the teenage sex comedy, and we were having the exact same conversation about that. Because there is a difference between sex and romance. And I think what Gen Z and what I think most people want generation after generation is they want their movies to have romance. They don't necessarily want their movies just to be about people having sex. I think the issue here is that we're approaching the subject at the wrong level. How I think what's happening today that wasn't happening back in the 80s was this idea of marriage, family relationships, and the things that it takes to build a strong one, and the benefits of it, which is that romance, which ultimately leads to the sex part. And I think Gen Z, the thing that I get from them is we have so deconstructed the family and what relationships are that they're confused. And that's why this idea of romance is just out of their mind. And one of the things I appreciate about this movie is, when it's all said and done, it's the romance that works. And
it ends up being, even though the plot centers around sex, the movie really does have kind of a sweet center, so to speak.
It is ultimately about these two characters getting together, and they spend an entire year not having sex, and you realize what kind of relationship they built from that, to where they're finally able to have that moment at the end.
And it's not the moment you think.
Yeah, it's not.
When you're saying that moment, it's not what you think.
No, I'm talking about the actual moment in the movie.
Don't say it.
Yeah. But we talked about the message of the movie, especially at the end of the movie, is exactly what Gen Z needs to hear. I think the issue here is, we're talking about this movie that probably didn't need all the sex, but at the same time, I feel like intimacy coordinators are the problem that got into this. That they just got on set and say, do we really need all this nudity? Do we? And I feel like they're the ones who ruined the movie ultimately.
The WB Paramount merger is filled with controversy. And David Ellison is going nuclear with a threat to move Paramount out of California. We have a story here from The Wrap. This is caused shockwaves through Hollywood, and it could either destroy the merger or it could destroy the industry. But Paramount WB could move to, I guess they're looking at Atlanta, Nashville, and Texas as some of the options. Alan, the story is here on The Wrap. Give it to me.
Yes. David Ellison reportedly told his leadership team that the company could begin relocating as early as October. Possible destinations include Nashville or Atlanta, with Texas also courting the studio. Paramount could potentially sell its California studio lots for billions of dollars and create a smaller creative hub in Los Angeles. But Paramount says the threat is serious, arguing that leaving California could save hundreds of millions in taxes. But the move would create an enormous practical problem. Paramount would be separate from Hollywood's talent agencies, executives, filmmakers, and informal deal-making network, potentially making it harder to attract and retain talent. There is also concern about a major talent exodus. High-profile creators could be tempted to leave for competitors rather than relocate across the country, particularly if layoffs are already expected following the merger. Bonta, meanwhile, has called Ellison's threat an attempt to blackmail regulators into approving a merger he believes is illegal. He says that California is confident that the antitrust case and remains prepared to go to trial rather than negotiate under pressure. The potential move would also be a major blow to Los Angeles, where about 17% of Paramount's workforce is based, including 35% of its studio employees. Industry experts warn that moving productions could cost thousands of jobs and further weaken an already battered Hollywood economy.
This story has me all fired up. There's a couple things I want to point out here. One, if Paramount WB move, that is the end of Hollywood, is the end of California being the center of the universe for making movies and TV shows. It's over. There will not be enough work with two major studios leaving. It's over, at least in Hollywood, California. Friends of mine that I know personally will be out of work. Lots of people will move, but lots of people on the lower end will lose their jobs and livelihood, not to mention iconic restaurants, more iconic restaurants closing. I'm furious about this. And I want to know, the bigger story is this. Who is telling Rob Bonta, a tool, the Attorney General of the state of California, who is telling him to do this? This is totally politically motivated because the Ellisons are friendly to one side of the political aisle that the establishment in California doesn't agree with. And the actors coming out against this merger, who is telling them to say that? All these people, Rob Bonta is a face and a tool. Gavin Newsom is a tool to all of the his donors and other powers that be. It's clear. And the actors that have come out being very public against this, who is telling them to do that? I'll tell you, look, I've met a lot of actors. Can't say they're the brightest bulbs in the bunch. Okay. Mostly on the dim side. Although I'll meet one here or there where I'm very impressed and they really understand the craft and they're savvy people. But that's not the majority. And there are forces trying to kill this deal. And if they kill it, it'll kill Hollywood. Now, will they go somewhere else and make movies? Sure. But you will hobble this new company in their very beginnings. And I'm just so pissed off about this. And let me share here from our friend Joseph Kahn, filmmaker, award-winning filmmaker. Here's what he had to say. California wants Ellison to fail. Ellison responds he will move his corporation out of California because they want him to fail. California says, no, this is why you shouldn't succeed. because you won't let California fail you. Welcome to Crazy Town. And he quote tweets one of the many stories that have just basically said what the Wrap said, which was in Variety and The Reporter. And by the way, these trade publications are completely compromised and complicit with this attitude. I cannot believe it. There are forces at work, probably outside Hollywood, that are trying to kill the industry. And I'm livid about it. Livid. And I want some of the people I know that kind of get sucked into this and they have an opinion that just fits with everyone else's opinion. Take a step back. Why would Rob Bonta come out of the woodwork? Where was he when Disney and Fox, what happened there during the Disney-Fox merger? What happened with that? That's arguably as big or bigger. I call BS. Alan, I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. You know why politicians get into politics? It's to gain power. And not only to gain power, but to use power. And that's exactly what's going on here. Why is he going after Paramount? Because he can. Because he's the Attorney General of the state of California. Sure, he could go after fraud in California, hospice fraud. We've got certainly our own set of leering problems. He could go after those, but he's not. No, this is his Moby Dick. This is the whale he wants to take down, and he's putting his reputation on it.
My question to you and everyone else: why is he doing it?
Why? Because he can. Because he can.
When you hear a politician say they care about a particular issue, ask them why they care. Yeah. It's never for reasons that are virtuous. It's never for that. He's trying to destroy this company. Some of it probably has to do with CNN, which they should just sell off. A concession they should make is, fine, CNN, go off, spin off your own company. We'll sell it for a song. Let's see you be profitable on your own. I'm furious because I'm seeing the city I love, Los Angeles, a city that is my adopted hometown. I'm from Michigan, from a little place called Royal Oak, like just a couple miles outside of Detroit. And I love that city, but you know what? I came here and I was able to achieve unbelievable. I wrote books. I made films, made friends. I had kids here. I have roots here. Became friends with you, Alan. Mm-hmm. Here in California, I love Los Angeles. I love what it was. What it's become is a city destroyed by politicians and government. And the fact that people aren't smart enough to see through this, the fact that the trades are complicit in this, and that every compromised politician is buying into this is unconscionable.
I mean, to your point, Hollywood.
I'm fired up and angry.
Yeah, I know. To your point, politicians, at least when I'm born in LA, raised in LA. I lived literally a mile from MGM Studios, which is now Sony Studios. That's how close. That's the closest I am to Hollywood. And we've always known, and it was always believed that the people who ran Los Angeles loved Hollywood and valued it and realized what a treasure it was. And now LA has been taken over by people who probably not from LA. And also they don't care. These things these traditions, this love of Hollywood that we once had is not important to them, because if it was important to them, they would fight for stuff like this. My issue with politicians, especially on the left, is that they don't see what the rest of us see. They don't see that how impossible it is to do a production in Los Angeles. Not from just the permitting, the bureaucracy, and the fees that you have to pay. It is oppressive. And why would you want to do that? And and then as you say, this complicity of the media, you know, they fear that if Paramount moves to Nashville or Atlanta, that they're going to be separate from the rest of Hollywood, and it's going to be more difficult to make a movie. Guess what? People aren't making movies in California anyways. People aren't making movies in Hollywood. That idea that the only place you can make a movie is in Hollywood has been long disproven. You can go anywhere, get all the tax credits you want. The only holdouts are the people who are clustered in Hollywood, who feel like if they move, they've lost. And I hate to say it, but we're getting to that point where you're gonna have to move, or the fact that you don't have to live in Hollywood to work in Hollywood.
Well, I'll say this. I'll end with this. Is that I've been here since '89 is when I moved here. I was a kid. And what LA and California gave me was so much opportunity. And I'm so grateful for it. And I feel like the people who come to California to achieve something, they're rugged individualists. But the people I see around me have bought into this socialist commie dream. And I don't be fooled. But I will, if WB and Paramount move, I'm going to look where they move. Mm-hmm. Because based on where California goes in this fall's election, my residency here is on the line. I believe, I mean, I've been optimistic. I'm an eternal optimist, maybe to my detriment, but I hope things can change. But this just really, you know what? Let's see where Paramount and WB, if they end up moving, that's where I may go.
Yeah. It's interesting. Because, you know, before you've mentioned this many times, and I'm like, well, what would happen if Chris moved? What would happen to Film Threat? And it's like, well, nothing. Because the only reason we stay
my backdrop,
your backdrop.
I'd have a bigger room.
Yeah, you'd have a bigger room. You'd be shooting from an actual studio that you built in your mansion.
Not really. I don't know about that.
I know, but why is LA so important for Film Threat? Well, we get to drive to screenings, which are now moving to television, you know, to our on-screen apps on our Roku televisions. You know, it's like, yeah, it's symbolic that Film Threat is in Los Angeles at this point.
Yeah, look, I've still got the same mailbox on Wilshire Boulevard, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036. That's a mailbox I've had since 1996. 30 years I've had that mailbox. I had an office down the street at La Brea and Wilshire, the Asahi Beer Building, no longer, but I had physical offices there, a mailbox down the street. I've kept that mailbox for years, but I'm sorry to say I may be leaving along with Paramount and WB.
You know, I was just thinking you're more likely to get murdered getting your mail now than anything else.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to your comments. We have an interview. We'll get to, God, we have a lot of comments. Yeah. We'll go to Soups first.
All right, Kung Fu Hot Dog gives you 1 Film Dirt membership.
Hey, Kung Fu Hot Dog, thank you.
Mike Rogers, 10 Jules, hiding.
Hiding? Where?
Magnum Norris, please don't ruin Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I like this actor.
I like him as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, Magnum Norris.
But how many actors actually live in LA nowadays and aren't looking to move somewhere else?
Oh, hey.
Beerosaurus Rex, married for 48 months. 4 years flew by. Here's to another.
Thank you, Beerosaurus Rex. That's a lot of support. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Check out our members only videos on the channel.
Magnum Norris for 10. Who is worse, Snyder or Gunn? We need a WWF laughing me ass off.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Snyder's movies have aged better, and I don't like the direction Gunn is going. And I'll leave it there. I'm not, after Peacemaker season 2, I was out on Gunn.
I'll just say I'm not the biggest DC fan and I'm still not.
Well, it's fair.
Broken Cowl, 2 jewels, Silver Star.
Silver Star, thank you.
Paul Duddleston for member for 3 months. Bond should be a period, please. Put him back in the 60s. I think you could do 70s, 80s as well.
Yeah,
those work.
You could.
This is a Cold War. It's a Cold War genre. Not another name for 10. Every Bond, Sean Connery, Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, perhaps even Daniel Craig, had a special take on Bond. Just keep your stinking paws off Bond, please. Exciting and different.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think we'll get an actor cast by year's end.
Jurassic Joey, 10 jewels, gold coin. Ding.
We'll take it.
Sir REG, married for 19 months. Just think if Netflix got WB, it'll kill theaters.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Torgo the White for 2. Do not pay for your own oppression. Escape.
Thanks, Torgo. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know. I'm really torn. I have kids that live here.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to it. I have friends, you know, other than Alan.
Yep. Well, I always said that, you know, once my parents died, I'm kind of open to anything. And I'm in that position now.
Well, if I leave, you have to leave.
No, that's not how that works.
Okay.
If I could buy a second home, I'd do that. Beauty and Death, 350 jewels. Finger heart.
There we go. Thanks.
Jurassic Joey, 250 jewels. Laughing Disco. Geek Crew 64, almost 40 months as a member. Here's to 40 more.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's a wrong time.
And then we'll just do non-soup, some comments here.
Yeah. Lord Thoth, he would have been a good Batman 30 years ago.
Yeah, Lord Thoth. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's a bit...
and I think he gets that too.
Yeah.
Uncle Jimmy Jam, one big problem with Restore the Snyderverse is getting the actors to come back. It's been 10 years. Am I wrong? I think it's been more than 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That'd be difficult. But
yeah.
I find Snyder's stuff more interesting than what Gunn is doing.
Bill Preston Esquire, the spy who Netflix and chilled me.
Yes.
One punch over on Rumble, One Punch Talking Fan for 3. Sing it, Chris. Sing it, Chris. Sing it, Chris.
Alan, you sing
it, Chris. I believe the donation of $3 is asking.
Stargate. There's my voice.
Your dad would be proud. Jonesy bought the lockdowns made the whole generation physically awkward.
Yeah.
One Punch Chocolate Fan. For 3, Brahma Bull, Chris Braley, and the Bleeding Fool. The DA and Alan Ng are now Grampy by that order, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
But your DA is a grandfather. That's awesome. Yeah.
I was going to ask him on Monday.
Next time he's on Versus.
Yeah. And then One Punch Fan for 3, Chris's Moving Fund.
I'll need it.
I know that U-Haul is going to cost you a lot of money.
It won't be a U-Haul. It'll be like a couple pods.
The toilet bug. Al will never leave the OC. I know this because I live in the OC and will never leave. I love the OC. And
yeah, whenever I go, it's really fun.
Let's just say my city in particular are fighting hard to keep the communists out.
Good.
Yeah. Look, we are the 3rd safest city in California. A One Punch Fan for 3, Alan's Future Home Together Fund. Oh, Chris and Alan's, yeah.
Yeah. And our interview subject is late. And I have, let's see, one more news story. Let's talk about this.
Yes.
Let's talk about this. Matt Damon and Josh Brolin speak frankly on Hollywood realities. Now, I wanted to do a story on this for a couple reasons. One is you rarely ever see Hollywood celebrities talk about their struggles. It's always, we make assumptions about how much money they make, you know, what they get paid for movies. It's kind of strange. So here is Josh Brolin. It's a quick clip from a show where he talks about a mistake that was made. Let me just, in his words, let's just let him speak. Here we go.
I was broke, man. Like, I had paid back debts that I had, and I hadn't made a lot of money, and whatever money I did make went back into family stuff. I got a call, and she's my lawyer, and she was like, guess what? You got some back end for American Gangster. And I was like, what? And I was in panic at that point. And then she sent me the number. It was like 60 grand. Out of that, I was going to pull off, again, probably 30, maybe 25. And that's, I mean, I can live off that. That's amazing. And I called her and I was like, I can't believe this. Like 60 grand, that's amazing. And she said, look at it again. And I had missed a zero. I still don't know to this day. I based everything off that. Nothing had ever paid off like that. And I started bawling. I started crying. It just made no sense to me. It was winning the lottery. That was it. I was good for good. I could never act again and live for the rest of my life on 600 grand. I could make 600 grand at that point in my life last 5 lifetimes, at least in my head.
So just to, you know, put this, give it some context. So many Hollywood actors, like, their overnight success. We assume that all actors are rich. You know, Hilary Swank, when she went to the Oscars, was living in a tiny place. So many actors and talent in the industry live off almost nothing until the one deal they do goes well. Here's, I've got another clip here of Matt Damon talking about a similar situation. He mentions his friend, of course, Ben Affleck, in this clip. Let me put this up for a second. But it talks about like what Ben Affleck was paid on the town versus what he was paid. I'll show you this clip real quick because it's worth illustrating my point. I just think you've said, Alan, before that the Hollywood dream is dead. Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yep.
And the thing is that I've been frustrated by, and I know a lot of people have been, they just keep recycling the same actors. Pedro Pascal, these, you know, John Bernthal, Tom Holland. They're all in the same movies. Look at this. It's another story that is similar.
Let me ask, just for reference, do you know what Good Will Hunting has grossed in its like time?
When it came out, I think it was like 220 something in the theater. But I have no idea what it did after that, like because they relicensed it and they, you know.
That's one of them that's just continued because it's just such an amazing film.
Actually, with our studio, you know, that's one of the things we really fight for is reversion rights. Like Ben called me a couple years ago and he goes, you know, the town just got relicensed for $35 million, which just means that he made a great movie and people are still watching it. And he, you know, at the time, like that movie made a fortune. It did all this stuff, but he was on a flat salary and he didn't, you know, I don't even think he made $1 million for that movie. And he wrote it, directed it, starred in it, and produced
crazy.
It. So it's one of those things. So, but it's like, you know, our view was like, look, if you do something like that as one of the real contributors to it, then like if there's money kind of in perpetuity, then you should be a part of that. So
hell yeah.
So a good friend of mine is a screenwriter. One of the realities he tells me is he's gotten paid. First of all, he's a screenwriter with a writing partner, and he might get $500,000 for a script. And he spent 3-4 years working on the script with his co-writer. Let's do the math. $500,000. Cut that in half because you got
Asians,
co-writer.
managers. Oh, okay. Sorry.
250K. Cut that in half. Taxes, manager, lawyer. That 500 for the script ends up being at the end for what my friend 125 spread out over 3 years. He says to me, Chris, I would have made more money if I was a manager at McDonald's. Okay. That's the realities that now look, I'm not telling you should feel sorry for talent, because when they hit it big, they hit big. But they're sleeping on the floor with roommates with egg cartons to hold their clothes and books for years before they get. There is no overnight success ever. It's 10 years minimum of eating shit before you ever get. And sometimes you're much older when you have some kind of success. So I'm just saying, if you're willing to stick it out, you can reach the heights of success, or you may never do it. But there is no overnight story that I've ever seen that didn't come with 10 plus years of just grinding and working. Any thoughts on this, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, look, Good Will Hunting, let's take that for example. Came out mid 90s or late 90s. That was, those two wrote the screenplay and somehow managed to A, star in it, and B, get it greenlit in the first place. So of course you're going to give up most of it. In fact, what happened is they sold the script, they got paid for the script, got paid for being actors, and they hit the lottery right off the bat. Their first movie was a massive hit and established their careers. That's how the system worked, at least back then, and that's how the system continues to work. You've got to prove yourself. Remember the story of the production designer of Obsession, who did her job, did it well, and then the movie literally hit the lottery at that point, and now she wants her piece of the pie. Well, you don't get that because people took risks on you on your first movie, and the way the game works is if they're willing to take a risk on you, they're going to reap the rewards if your thing works out. And that's why I'm saying, now Hollywood is dead. You don't need that system anymore. As sad as these stories are, you just don't need. In fact, Hollywood doesn't want you. They really don't want you. You have to do it on your own. And look, they want, the way it works now is you make your thing, and if it's successful, they'll buy your thing. And then and the beauty now is you can negotiate them buying your thing. You can negotiate what, how much control you have over the future of it. You can give it to them. You could sell your baby to them and make a nice tidy sum, or you can negotiate merchandising and sequel rights and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel bad for them because that was the way it was, but man, it's very different now. And in fact, you can become that without even going through the system. So, yep. The realities are changing.
I just think the realities are changing, but also because of streaming, people are making less and less. The movies that they referenced in the Matt Damon and Josh Brolin clips, like those were theatrical movies. They weren't streaming. You're not making money in streaming anymore.
Right, but the thing is,
the pie is tinier and tinier slivers. It's already so difficult to survive in Hollywood that
well, don't be in Hollywood.
Well, that's it. No one may be. If
I know that, I mean, that's just it. The
Paramount merger doesn't happen.
Yeah, look, I forgot what you just said. But do you really? Oh, okay, yeah. You're making less and less on streaming. Well, guess what? At least you're on streaming. At least your movie got some kind of a release. You couldn't say that 20 years ago. You couldn't say that when Good Will Hunting was happening. That's the potential earnings are down, but at least you can get a bigger piece of that potential earning than you could in the past. And there's something to be said about ownership and being able to own the stuff you make versus back then you gave up your baby to Hollywood and now they do whatever they want with it.
100%. Let's go to comments. We got a few comments here. Sorry, Alan.
I know.
All
right.
Our guest for today is late.
Okay.
And might be a
And
misunderstanding.
he's emailing you.
He's emailing.
Yeah. Well, Andrew Cram gifted one Film Thread membership. Let's see. Dark Hero fan, member for 30 months. I love Burbank, but LA seeps into it. I gotta leave.
That's sad to hear because I've looked at if I'm going to stay in LA, moving maybe somewhere other than where I'm at. So yeah, Burbank, I see it too. I'll see like homeless or druggies or, like the kind of LA-ness seep in here.
Like I said, jump in a time machine, go back to 2008. Foolish American for 5. Aaron, you leave Hollywood, move to Motherland, and work for me, picking lice fishing and teaching karate. It'd be kung flu, by the way, not karate.
Well, there you go. I think something happened with our interview subject, so I think we might leave it there.
Yeah.
We'll have to reschedule. So we'll have a shorter show for today. So that'll wrap it up for us today. On Friday, we will talk lanterns. It'll be a very interesting discussion, plus reviews and interviews. We have a movie called Rage Bait. Oh my God, I can't wait to talk to you about that. It's about Rage Bait on YouTube. That's an actual feature.
Yeah. I've
film.
never experienced that at all.
And I want to thank our mods, Lord Thoth, MK Solid, ADL is 24, Ololique on Rumble, and Atomic Lori. And thank you, Alan. And thank everyone who sent in a soup and who supports. Sorry about the shorter show for today. Kind of went long on the nooner. So I'm a bit tired. But there you go. I want to remind people also to please, if you would, sub to the channel. So
I do not usually do these things, Mr. Gore. But I see that you are approaching 169,000 subscribers. And yes, I do respect that. So
that was, you don't really get people that big coming out of the woodwork.
Look, if John Malkovich says to subscribe, you better subscribe.
Well, there you go. We're going to leave it there. And I'm kind of stalling because I'm waiting to see if
he might show up.
Our interview subject shows up. We don't see. I don't see. Well, that's it. We're going to end it there. Short show today. It happens sometimes, folks.
Yeah.
It happens. But we'll be back on Friday. And there you go. Alan?
Let's get out of here.